Have you ever felt it, that quiet, persistent sense that you're not quite from here? Maybe it's been with you since childhood, a feeling that the world around you operates on a logic you can't quite grasp. Like you're hearing a melody that no one else can hear. This feeling isn't a flaw, and it's not your imagination. It is the first whisper from a soul that carries the dust of many lifetimes. In this video, we will explore 7 undeniable signs that your soul has journeyed through more than just this one existence. You will finally understand why your need for solitude isn't a weakness, but a source of profound strength. Why your constant search for meaning doesn't make you strange but wise. And most importantly, you will see that you are not alone in this feeling of being an outsider. There is a reason for this spiritual homesickness, and its roots go deeper than you've ever dared to look. Stay with me until the end, because the final sign will reframe everything you thought you knew about yourself. It will reveal that your feeling of being different isn't a burden to bear, but the very key to a kind of freedom most people will never experience. Let's begin this journey together. The first time you truly knew you were different, it probably wasn't a lightning strike moment. It was more like a slow dawn, a gradual awareness that settled into the corners of your everyday life. While other children effortlessly merged into the vibrant chaos of the playground, you were the observer on the bench, studying the intricate dance of human connection from a distance. While your peers chattered about things that felt hollow and fleeting, you yearned for conversations that felt like diving into a deep, cool lake. This sense of being an actor in the wrong play has likely followed you your whole life. It's as if you speak a language of the soul that has no native speakers here, as if you perceive shades of color invisible to the ordinary eye. The psychologist Carl Jung spoke of the self with a capital S as the true center of our being, the core that connects our conscious mind to the vast uncharted ocean of the unconscious. He believed this self wasn't just personal. It was a doorway to what he called the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of human memory, myth, and experience. Old souls seem to have a more direct line to this archetypal realm. They intuitively feel the ancient patterns that weave through history. They recognize the echoes of the same stories playing out in every life, every relationship, every empire's rise and fall. While others see only the surface waves, you see the powerful hidden currents moving beneath. The first sign of an ancient soul is a perception that transcends linear time. Have you ever walked into a room in a foreign country and been hit by the overwhelming certainty that you've been there before, not as a fleeting memory, but as a deep cellular recognition, as if the atoms of your body remember the atoms of that space? These moments are often dismissed as déjà vu, a simple neurological quirk, but for an old soul they are glimpses through the veil. They are moments when the rigid clock of our world dissolves, and you touch the spiraling cyclical nature of soul time. Your soul doesn't operate on a calendar. It moves in seasons, in tides, in a rhythm the conscious mind can barely comprehend. You don't see the world as a chain of disconnected events. You see the patterns. You see how the same dynamics of love, betrayal, and redemption repeat themselves in your friendships, in your romantic life, in the grand theater of global events. What seems novel and shocking to others often feels to you like another verse of a very old song. This ability to see the cycles is both a gift and a curse. It grants you a profound sense of perspective, but it can also rob you of the sweet innocence of surprise. You can no longer afford to be naive, to believe that this time it will be different. You know better because some deep part of you has seen this play before countless times. And then there's that uncanny intuition that visits you. You just know things without knowing how you know them. You sense when a friendship is about to fracture long before the first cracks appear. You feel the dishonesty in someone's words, even when they are perfectly crafted. These premonitions aren't magic in the way people think. They are the product of a soul that has lived through so many human dramas that it recognizes the opening scenes instinctively. You've seen this movie before, and your soul remembers the ending. The second sign reveals itself in your relationship with solitude. While most people are terrified of being alone, running from it as if it were a void, for you it is something else entirely. It is not a lack, not a punishment, not a sign of social failure. It is your natural habitat. It is the sacred space where you can finally take off the heavy costume of social expectation and just be. In the silence, you don't find emptiness. You find everything. In seclusion, you don't feel isolated. You feel a profound connection to the universe itself. This isn't a reactive solitude born of disappointment. It is a fundamental part of your soul's architecture. Jung described the archetype of the hermit, that inner figure who retreats from the world, not out of contempt for it, but out of a deep need. The hermit doesn't seek escape. They seek integration. They withdraw to make sense of the external chaos, to hear the whispers of their inner world that are drowned out by the noise of daily life. For you, solitude is not a luxury. It's a survival mechanism. The constant stream of external input, the relentless social demands, the performance of personality, it all drains you in a way others can't seem to understand. When you're around people, especially in superficial settings, you feel a weariness that has nothing to do with physical fatigue. It's an energy drain, as if your very life force is being siphoned away by a sea of meaningless words and empty gestures. Small talk isn't just boring to you, it's physically painful. Every minute spent in such interactions feels like a theft of your precious time on this earth. This doesn't make you arrogant or superior. It simply means your soul vibrates at a different frequency and requires a different kind of nourishment to thrive. This is why you are fiercely protective of your time and energy. You don't collect acquaintances. You don't build networks for strategic advantage. The handful of people you allow into your inner world are those with whom you can communicate on a soul level, a plane that exists far beyond the mundane. These connections are rare jewels, but when you find them, they possess a depth and resilience that is unimaginable to most. You refuse to settle for less because your soul knows that true connection only ever happens in the deep. The third sign of an old soul is a form of empathy that is almost painfully profound. There is something within you that dissolves the boundary between yourself and others. You don't just understand what someone is feeling. You feel it in your own body. The ache of a stranger on the bus can follow you for the rest of the day. The unspoken grief of a friend can sit on your chest like a physical weight. This permeability isn't a sign of weakness. It's the mark of a soul that knows on a fundamental level that all suffering is shared, that there is no true separation between your pain and the pain of the world. Jung borrowed a term, participation mystique, to describe a state of consciousness where the lines between subject and object are blurred. While most people develop strong psychological boundaries to navigate the world, old souls retain a connection to this primordial state of unity. This doesn't come from immaturity, but from a deep intuitive understanding that the separation between I and you is ultimately an illusion. Your empathy is not a learned social skill. It is the natural state of a soul that remembers its connection to the whole. But this gift comes at a cost. You see what others refuse to see. You perceive the quiet desperation behind a forced smile, the crushing loneliness behind a gregarious facade, the trembling fear behind an arrogant posture. This perception makes it impossible to be naive about the world. You cannot look away. You cannot pretend that everything is fine. And this constant awareness of the pain simmering just beneath the surface becomes a heavy burden, one you often carry alone. Because most people don't want to acknowledge that this level of reality even exists. This is why you often feel a powerful urge to rescue, to heal, to comfort. It doesn't come from a place of superiority, but of recognition. In their suffering, you see an echo of your own past journeys. Your soul remembers the darkness, the despair, the feeling of being utterly lost, and from that ancient memory arises an impulse to help. Even when it exhausts you, even when it overwhelms you, you can't help it because for your soul, indifference is simply not an option. Now we arrive at the fourth sign, and it can be the most isolating. There are moments when you're moving through a crowd at a party or a social gathering, and you feel a sudden physical wave of revulsion. The automated conversations, the predictable social scripts, the rituals everyone performs without a flicker of self-awareness. It all triggers a kind of existential nausea. It's not arrogance that separates you from them. It's the painful recognition that most people are trapped in a script they never chose, living by rules they never questioned. They are wearing masks they have mistaken for their own faces. Jung called this social mask the persona, the curated version of ourselves we present to the world to be accepted, to function, to survive. The persona itself isn't the problem. The problem arises when people completely identify with it, forgetting that there is a vast, wild, authentic self living underneath. As an old soul, you see this identification everywhere. You see people who are their jobs, their social status, their carefully constructed identities. And the sight is unbearable because you know how much life, how much raw, beautiful authenticity is being suffocated beneath the mask. This is why you often can't participate in celebrations that bring others joy without feeling like an anthropologist studying a strange tribe. The forced cheerfulness, the loud, empty laughter, the superficial euphoria, it doesn't touch you. It feels hollow, synthetic, like a performance without a soul. You're not looking for distraction, you're looking for substance, you're not seeking pleasure, you're seeking truth, and in a world built on entertainment and distraction, this makes you a foreigner. Even the things that motivate most people, status, possessions, external validation, leave you cold. It's not that you judge these things, it's just that they don't feed your soul. They are too small, too temporary, too shallow to satisfy the immense hunger that burns within you. This hunger is for something the material world cannot provide. It is a hunger for the absolute, for the eternal, for that which lies beyond all form. And strangely, you find yourself drawn more to melancholy than to forced happiness. In the bittersweet beauty of a tragic film, in the poignant lyrics of a sad song, in the poetry of loss, you find something that feels real. Not because you romanticize suffering, but because sadness contains an authenticity that is absent in so much of the world's manufactured joy. Your soul is nourished by what is real, not by what is pleasant. And reality, you know, includes pain, decay, and darkness. The fifth sign manifests as a deep restlessness that no external achievement can soothe. You could have everything society defines as success, the career, the recognition, the comfortable life, and yet you still feel that quiet, aching void that no accomplishment can fill. These external things might bring you comfort, but they don't touch the core of your being. Deep down, you know that your soul did not come here to check boxes on a list or to meet societal expectations. It is on a quest for something the visible world cannot contain. Jung spoke of the transcendent function, the psyche's innate ability to unite opposing forces to create a new, higher level of consciousness. Old souls live in the constant tension between the demands of earthly life and the pull of something vast and unseen. You inhabit this world, but you are not entirely of this world. This permanent state of being torn is exhausting, but it is also the engine of your spiritual growth. You cannot settle for the mundane because your soul has a memory of a dimension that lies beyond it. This is why the goals that seem so obvious to others often bore you. Climbing the corporate ladder, starting a family, buying a house, retiring. These conventional life milestones feel too small to contain the magnitude of your inner longing. This doesn't mean you reject these things or think they are wrong. It simply means that for your soul they are not the point. They are not the ultimate purpose of your existence. And then there is that strange, objectless yearning. You feel a homesickness for a place you've never been. You miss something you've never had. This longing is not for anything in the material world. It is a longing for a home that lies beyond space and time, for a state of wholeness your soul may have once known. It is the longing for your origin, for the source, for the return to that which existed before all separation. The sixth sign is revealed in your relationship with change. Perhaps you've noticed that you've never truly felt like you've arrived. No matter where you are or what you're doing, there's always a sense of being in transit on a journey towards something you haven't yet reached. This inner restlessness isn't a sign of instability or immaturity. It is the expression of a soul that refuses to stagnate, that refuses to settle into any final fixed form. The archetype of the eternal wanderer, the cosmic nomad, is alive in you. Old souls are driven by a divine discontent that can find no worldly resolution. You are not seeking a final destination to reach. You are in love with the process itself, the constant transformation, the endless deepening. While others seek stability, a safe harbor where they can finally rest, you know that for you such a place does not exist. Your soul thrives on movement, on questioning, on perpetual renewal. This restlessness makes it impossible for you to cling to a fixed identity. You are constantly evolving, shedding old versions of yourself like a snake sheds its skin. What felt true yesterday can feel like a foreign concept today. This fluidity can be unsettling for the people around you because they cannot put you in a box. You continually elude their expectations. But for you, this constant metamorphosis is not confusing. It's as essential as breathing. For your soul, stasis is death. This is why you never feel finished, never complete, never at the end of your development. There is always another layer to uncover, another shadow to integrate, another truth to explore. Jung called this lifelong journey individuation, the path to wholeness. For old souls, individuation is not a project to be completed. It is the very fabric of your existence, a path without an arrival point, a search without an end. And now, the seventh and final sign, perhaps the most profound of all. There are moments in your life that defy rational explanation, moments when you feel the presence of something vast and sacred, a piece of music that opens a gateway in your heart and brings tears to your eyes for reasons you can't name, an ancient tree that seems to speak to you in a language older than words, a dream so vivid and symbolic it feels like a letter from another reality. Jung called these numinous experiences moments when the holy breaks through the veil of the ordinary. For you, these experiences are not rare exceptions. They are woven into the fabric of your life. You are sensitive to the invisible, the mysterious, the things that slip through the net of rational thought. Symbols speak to you. Synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences Jung described, are your constant companions. You notice the signs, the hidden connections, the subtle patterns that guide your life's path. The collective unconscious is not a theory for you. It is an experiential reality. The myths, the archetypes, the ancient stories of humanity, they all feel deeply familiar, as if you've known them forever. Your soul speaks the language of images, of symbols, of archetypal energies. You navigate this dimension with the same natural ease that others navigate the material world, and you perceive what others dismiss as imagination. You sense energies in a room, you feel the history of a place. You perceive moods and atmospheres that cannot be seen or measured. For you, the unseen world is just as real as the seen world, sometimes even more so. The rational, evidence-based world often feels flat and one-dimensional compared to the depth and mystery you perceive in the hidden layers of existence. This is why your spiritual quest was never a conscious decision you made. It is a fundamental part of your soul's structure. It belongs to you like your own heartbeat. You may not be religious in a conventional sense, but you are deeply, irrevocably connected to the eternal, the transcendent, to that which lies beyond all names and forms. This orientation toward the sacred is not your accomplishment, it is your nature. Your soul was born with its compass pointing toward the divine. There comes a point on this journey when you simply stop explaining yourself. You no longer feel the need to justify why you are the way you are. You stop apologizing for your otherness. You accept that you don't fit into the neat categories of the world, and instead of suffering from it, you begin to cherish the freedom it gives you. It's a quiet liberation, one that happens without fanfare. You simply stop looking outside yourself for a permission slip to be who you are. This acceptance brings with it a paradoxical kind of solitude. You can be physically alone yet feel deeply connected to everything, to all of creation, to the universe itself. And at the same time, you can be in the middle of a joyful crowd and feel a profound sense of isolation. Your soul inhabits its own dimension, one that is independent of external circumstances. And it is in this dimension that you find a peace that the world can neither give nor take away. You no longer need the approval of others to feel worthy. The opinions, judgments, and expectations of the people around you lose their power. Your inner compass no longer points outward, it points inward. The archetypes that live within you, the ancient patterns of your own soul, become your true north. You orient your life by what feels true inside, not by what society expects of you. And finally, something remarkable happens. All the pain, all the loneliness, all the alienation that has shadowed your life begins to transform. Not through an act of will, but through a natural alchemical process. The lead of your suffering turns into the gold of wisdom. The loneliness becomes unshakable inner strength. The feeling of being a stranger becomes the gift of spiritual freedom. You don't have to force this transformation. It happens on its own when you surrender to the path that is uniquely yours. This wisdom is not loud. It doesn't preach or proselytize. It is quiet, deep, and self-contained. You carry it within you like a hidden treasure that you have no need to prove to anyone. You simply live from it without speaking of it, without displaying it. Your very presence becomes a testament to the journey you have walked and the depths you have integrated. And that is more than enough. If you have listened this far, then you know you are not alone in your feeling of being different. You know there is a name for this deep longing, this restlessness, this sensitivity that has defined your life. You are an old soul, and that is not a curse or a blessing. It is simply what you are. It is your nature, your design, your way of being in this world. This realization won't change the external facts of your life, but it changes everything about how you see yourself. You can stop fighting against your own nature. You can stop trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for you. You can begin to see your otherness not as a flaw, but as your greatest gift, a gift that comes with responsibility, yes, but also with a depth and richness of experience that most people will never know. The world needs old souls now more than ever, even if it doesn't always know it. It needs people who see the deeper patterns, who are not satisfied with superficial answers. It needs people who hold a connection to the sacred, who still understand the ancient symbols, who can still speak the language of the soul. Your presence here is not an accident. You are here because your soul has something to offer, something to be that this world desperately needs. If this video resonated with you, if you recognized yourself in these signs, please let me know. Write in the comments which of the 7 signs felt most true for you. Share your experience, because in doing so, you not only validate your own journey, but you give others permission to live their truth as well. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to explore more of the soul's depths, the psyche's hidden patterns, and the quiet pathways of transformation. You won't find quick fixes here, but you will find understanding, depth, and above all, the certainty that you are not walking this path alone.